Hello, my fellow administrators. Gilberta is dropping into Talos 2 with a really interesting kit, so this video will introduce her abilities, builds, teammates, and at the end of the video, I'll be giving and explaining my personal opinion on her pull value. Gilberta is a 6-star nature supporter that specializes in grouping and debuffing enemies in an area. Let's take a look at her combat abilities first. Gilberta's basic attack is your standard basic attack, a 4-sequence combo with the final strike regaining 15 SP. You'll likely never actively use this in combat, so nothing much to say here. Gilberta's battle skill consumes an entire bar of SP, creating a gravity well that sucks in all enemies in an area, dealing nature damage over time. After a while, the gravity well will explode, dealing a burst of nature damage and inflicting all enemies hit with a stack of nature infliction. The grouping area from this skill is quite big, and can be a great skill to use at the start of the battle to gather all enemies into an area before bursting them down. Currently, Nature Infliction isn't too useful aside from a few characters, so you're mainly using the skill for the grouping effect, which, given the 100 SP cost, is debatable to use consistently in some teams. Gilberta's combo skill is triggered when an arts reaction is applied to the enemy. Some arts reactions include combustion, corrosion, solidification, and electrification. Upon activation, Gilberta will apply a circle on the field, and after a while, apply lift on all enemies in it. This is great against small mobs as it lifts them up and keeps them in place for you to nuke them. The trigger condition can be hard to consistently achieve in certain teams though, so do keep that in mind. Last but not least, we have Gilberta's main ability, her ult. She will create a circular field and apply 1 stack of nature infliction on all enemies in the field, along with slow and a massive 30% art susceptibility at M3, which lasts until the field disappears. Gilberta will also apply additional art susceptibility based on the number of vulnerability stacks on the target, which stacks up to 4. The maximum art susceptibility applied by the ult is currently the highest in the game, but there is one thing holding it back. As the duration of the art susceptibility debuff, lift and slow effect is tied directly to the field's very short duration of 5 seconds. It can be hard for operators that spread out their damage over a duration to make use of the debuff effectively. However, for bursty operators that like to deal a burst of massive damage in one hit, it can significantly boost their damage output. As for Gilberta's combat talents, all allied guards, casters, and supporters gain a small ultimate gain efficiency boost, allowing them to obtain their ultimates quicker. While this might seem like a small boost, it can really help with some teams' ult rotations. The second talent heals the controlled operator when Gilberta's battle or combo skill hits at least 2 enemies, which can be transferred to other operators in the team if the controlled operator is at max health. The healing output is decent, which is great for overall team survivability. As for Gilberta's potentials, while they are decent, they're not game-changing. P1 increases the suck range of her skill, which can be good if the battle arena is big and enemies are more spread out. P2 changes the ultimate's art susceptibility stacking from addition to multiplication, and treats all enemies hit as having 1 additional vulnerability stack, up to the maximum of 4. This further increases Gilberta's debuffing capability and is probably her most impactful potential. P3 increases the ult gain efficiency from her talent, and P4 reduces Gilberta's own ult energy cost, which can significantly help with her own ult rotations. P5 reduces her combo cooldown and damage, which helps with ultimate gain and vulnerability stacking. All of Gilberta's potentials are decent, but they are by no means necessary for her to perform and fulfill her niche. Gilberta's signature weapon is great for all teams she's in, as its effect is triggered from her combo skill, which is used in all teams. While the damage % buff from the weapon's effect isn't the best due to how saturated the stat is in most teams, it is still decent. Plus, the massive ultimate efficiency bonus from the weapon's secondary attribute is great for her own personal ultimate uptime, which can be crucial for consistently performing the team's optimal ultimate rotations. Gilberta's Battle Pass weapon has a similar effect, but is instead triggered by applying Nature Infliction instead of a combo skill, which means she has to either use her combat skill or ultimate once every 15 seconds to keep the uptime, which is honestly unfeasible in most teams. Furthermore, the secondary attribute is a nature damage bonus instead of an ultimate efficiency bonus from her signature. Unless you're building Gilberta for her damage output, which I highly don't recommend, you should probably use another weapon. A P5 stanza of Memorials is another option, giving a decent attack boost to all non-nature allies when popping her ult, which is much more valuable than a damage bonus. Lastly, for electric or heat teams only, OBJ Arts Identifier can be a good alternative as it provides similar buffing capabilities, but it too doesn't have the valuable ultimate gain boost her signature offers. Gilberta honestly wants only one gear set, and that is Eternal Zerionite. While you only need 3 pieces to activate the set, we'll be running all 4 pieces from the same set just for the ultimate efficiency bonus each piece offers. Gilberta can only trigger the set's effect through her ultimate, which isn't the greatest uptime-wise, so this set mainly benefits burst damage teams. Last but not least, we have the teams section. Gilberta's current best in slot team is with Yvonne. Yvonne's burst-type playstyle with her ultimate is a great pair with Gilberta's short debuff duration from her ult. Yvonne's consistent solidification also helps in triggering Gilberta's combo, which will in turn shatter enemies before Yvonne solidifies them again with her own combo, leading to even more damage. Furthermore, Gilberta helps with grouping enemies, thus increasing the AoE potential of the team as Yvonne has some AoE in her kit, despite being primarily a single target DPS, thus solidifying Gilberta as her best in slot support. Get it? Solidifying? Because Yvonne solidifies a lot. Liavitane is another DPS that can benefit from Gilberta's kit. The grouping is great for Liavitane's AoE attacks, and her ultimate debuff, while short, can really help with Liavitane's enhanced skill burst potential. However, there are some hefty downsides to consider as well. As Gilberta inflicts nature infliction through her skill and ultimate, it can interfere with building up heat infliction stacks, as you might accidentally use up health infliction stacks to trigger combustion or corrosion, which in turn affects Lei's own melting flame stacks. Furthermore, Lei's current teams are perfectly functional without Gilberta's crowd control effects, and her debuffs aren't too appealing for the team as Ardelia exists. Ardelia with her skill and her signature applies 20% art susceptibility and a 16% arts DMG taken debuff, with the best part being that both of them are free. Last but not least, we have the free-to-play electric team with Avuena being the DPS. Gilberta fits into this team extremely well, as firstly, she can trigger her combo through Perlica's own combo skill, and secondly, the grouping significantly helps with landing Avuena's spears on top of the susceptibility debuff from her ult, making Gilberta a solid member for Avuena's team. Now, what about the physical team? She can apply lift through both her combo and ultimate. Surely she's a great member for the physical team, right? Well, not really. Similar to Liavitane, the physical team is already fairly established. While Gilberta's can apply vulnerability stacks via lift and her crowd control abilities can be valuable, it can't really justify replacing any of the members as it can significantly reduce vulnerability stacking. Furthermore, Gilberta's ult applies arts susceptibility, which does absolutely nothing for the team as physical damage is not considered arts damage, thus making it an overall DPS loss if Gilberta is used. So, should you pull and build Gilberta? If you're interested in pulling Yvonne and increasing her damage potential, or you have a well-built electric team with Avuena, and you want to increase the damage ceiling of the team, Gilberta is an excellent pick for your account. However, outside of these scenarios, as much as it pains me to say this, it becomes significantly harder to justify pulling Gilberta right now. Gilberta's niche is the massive crowd control and the arts susceptibility debuff she applies. While the crowd control is extremely helpful in most teams, it is not necessary. Furthermore, out of the current 3 big bosses in the game, only the floating RGB rock has a phase where it summons trash mobs, which can be grouped, though this can obviously change in the future. While Gilberta can also help speed up daily farming due to the large waves of trash mobs, I don't think that benefit alone justifies potentially spending 120 pulls. It is extremely difficult to gauge Gilberta's future value as the meta is quite undeveloped. Unless Hypergrave decides to place a heavier emphasis on crowd control through enemy or operator designs, Gilberta probably won't be rated too highly meta-wise. On the waifu side of things, she's based on the OG waifu Angelina from OG Arknights, so if you're an OG Angelina simp, I don't think this video will change your mind anytime soon. I mean, we even got lowlight simping over Gilberta on Twitter, so yeah, top tier waifu. Otherwise, meta-wise, yeah, it's probably better to skip and wait for a rerun. And that's it for the Gilberta guide. If you found this video interesting or helpful, do give me a kind subscription. Thank you for watching, my fellow administrators, and I'll see you in the next video.